Good evening, everyone. This is our virtual public meeting of November 17th, and it's 7 p.m. or 7:12 p.m. Roseanne, would you call to order, please,
Yes.
the roll call?
Okay. Mayor Halpin,
Present.
Vice Mayor Kennedy,
I'm here.
Commissioner Ross,
I'm here.
Commissioner Samaria,
Present.
Commissioner Tudor,
Here.
Commissioner Samaria, would you do the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag
of the
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Ed, can you please read Resolution 2020-60?
Pardon me, Mayor, if I may, raise a point of order. With regard to the agenda, as it is stated, we presently don't have any public comment prior to the first piece of business. And we have quite a few participants in the audience, 42 by my count on Zoom. I would like to make a motion that we add public comments in advance of the installation of the newly electeds.
In here.
Okay, shall we take a vote on that?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Ross, I couldn't hear you.
I'd like to add an opportunity for public comment, particularly before the selection of the mayor is made.
I'm calling for a vote. Roseanne, can you call a vote for Commissioner Ross's?
you gonna call the vote? Okay. Mayor Halpin,
No.
Vice Mayor Kennedy, Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaria,
Yes.
Commissioner Tudor,
Yes.
motion passed 4-1.
Okay.
So let me suggest, please, that we do the swearing in first so that the electeds who are not tuned in right now can hear the comments that come through. So that would be just before 4C. We'll have public comment.
Mayor, we need to pass the resolution first,
Power on.
certify the election.
Bluetooth connected.
I'm sorry?
We need to pass the resolution first to certify the election. Is that correct, Ed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll certify the election, swear in the new commissioner, we'll switch to the new commission, and then do public comment and move on.
Yes.
Okay. Eddie, are you going to do the resolution?
Happy to, Mayor. A resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, certifying the results of the general municipal election of the Village of Biscayne Park, Miami-Dade County, Florida, held November 3, 2020, designated the persons newly elected to office and length of terms, providing for an effective date.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2020-60 certification of the general election newly elected officials.
Second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Roseanne.
Okay, now we're gonna do the public comments before the installation, or you
The
said?
installation, and then the new commission sits, and then public comment.
Okay, all right. All right, so for the installation, we're gonna call first Art Gonzalez. And Caesar, we're going to record.
Point of order, Madam Moore, don't we usually congratulate the commissioners that are leaving when we have usually a ceremony?
Not yet,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
okay.
There.
I just want to be sure. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez, are you swearing yourself in? You swearing yourself in? I never heard that before. Yourself in, yeah, because I didn't see anybody.
Roseanne,
This is,
Raise your right hand. I state your name. Do hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and will obey the laws of the United States and the state of Florida. And I will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the Charter and ordinance of the Village of Biscayne Park, that I am duly qualified for the office under the Charter of the Village of Biscayne Park. And I will well and faithfully perform the duties of Commissioner of which I'm about to enter.
excuse me, Art, fix your collar before they take pictures.
Who's going to take the picture?
Myself or?
Oh. Yes. One more. All right. Right. You'll have to take the next pictures. You'll have to take the next pictures.
Okay.
Because I have to kick off the Zoom.
All right. So are you ready for the next one? Or you went back to Zoom?
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, right now. You can go ahead, Marty.
There we go.
I state your name. I, J. Campbellberry, do hereby swear. Do hereby swear. Laws of the United States and the state of Florida, and in the state of Florida, and I will in all respects, follow the provisions of the charter, ordinances, and resolutions. Follow the provisions of the charter, ordinances, and resolution of the Village of Biscayne Park, the Village of Biscayne Park, that under the charter of the Village of Biscayne Park, I am duly qualified to hold office. And I promise to perform. To the best of my ability. The duties of Commissioner, which I am about to enter. So help me God.
Look at that. There's a plug. Okay.
Yes.
Good? Yes? And I'll make I'll find later and give to you. Okay? So, Dan Meyer is gonna be there or gonna be on the side? Here.
I put the case back there.
No,
Apparently, that's what happened. Yeah, I'm in power.
I back Dr. Kennedy. And will obey the laws of the United States and the state of Florida. And I will in all respects observe the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the village of Biscayne Park. That I am duly qualified to hold office under the charter of the village of Biscayne Park. And that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of commissioner of which I am about to enter.
That's it. Yes.
Open your eyes. Eyes.
Do you know how to pick these seats up? Oh, I got it.
Okay. That's it for me. That's it for me.
Yeah.
That's it? Okay.
There you go. Okay, Mr. Jones, you in.
Okay, Fred Jonas, 918 119th Street. Just for our three newly elected, one of them re-elected commissioners, I want to congratulate all of you and thank you very much. It was a very weird year to be running for office. You were all great sports to do this. And I am very grateful for the commitment the three of you have made. Mac, your commitment is continuing. Art and Judy, yours are new commitments, and I'm very grateful to all three of you for working for our village the way you do.
Thank you. Chuck Ross. Mr. Ross, you are muted.
Chuck Ross, 11166 Griffin Boulevard. I also want to congratulate the three of you. I know that you all do very well, and I'd like to give my support for Mac, that he should become mayor based on the overwhelming support of the community. The vote was, I think, the highest number of votes ever received by a candidate that I can recall. Because anyway, in any case, whoever becomes mayor, I know you will do a good job, and I wish you all very well. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, I don't see anybody else raising hand. If somebody see, let me
Okay.
know.
Does anybody?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I have Linda Dillon because she's, yeah, come over here.
Linda, you want to step up to the podium?
Come here. Then you want here, what the people say. Am I on mute?
Linda Dillon, 712 115th Street. At the first November 10th special commission meeting, last-minute items were added to the agenda without prior notification to residents. And things moved so quickly that there was no opportunity to offer public comments regarding these items. Had there been, I would have agreed with then Vice Mayor Kennedy, who would have disallowed village support for the Salvation Army. Regardless of the cause, I believe that the village should not endorse any organization or event that does not directly benefit the village or its residents, especially one with religious ties. I truly hope that you as a new commission will stop the more recent practice of adding agenda items unless there is an emergency without prior notification to residents. On the positive side, I would like to thank Rox Ross, Will Tudor, and our returning commissioners, Dan Samaria, Matt Kennedy, and Virginia O'Halpin, who also served as mayor, for their service. I extend a special thank you to Roseanne Prado, village clerk, who, while heavily criticized by some residents and even commissioners, she did what I think is a remarkable job, wearing two hats and keeping this village functioning during the many months that we went without a permanent village manager. I thank Mylan Gwen for her many years of service and for putting up with me as a volunteer when I didn't stay in my lane, as well as the entire Public Works Department and our police department reorganized under Chief Cabrera. We now have a new building coordinator, a new administrative assistant, 2 new code officers, 2 new commissioners as of this evening, and most importantly, a new village manager. Working together, I believe they are the best staff and leadership that this village has seen in my 42 years of attending these meetings, some of which were anything but short. Maybe now my dream of having a united community will come to pass. But then again, I also still believe in the tooth fairy.
Roseanne. Roseanne, you can let my phone into the meeting.
Sure. I heard you say Bob Anderson was,
Somebody said Bob Anderson, yeah.
okay,
Yes, he's nodding yes.
you're unmuted, sir.
Bob Anderson, 11th place, 119th Street. I would ask the commission to consider removing 2 items from this agenda. The first one is 11C. 11C was discussed in detail during the orientation, and it covers just about everything that's on the agenda instead of wasting the commission's time to go ahead and discuss it. The second item is 13A. 13A sounds good, but you can't legislate behavior. The voters do. This has to do with the elected officials. The voters go ahead, and if they don't feel the elected official is doing the job, they don't get to stay in. And you can't go ahead and say, to make sure you bring, you're well prepared for a meeting. As an adult, it's hard to believe that any elected official has never been to a meeting before in their life Or maybe they have and they've never been prepared and they failed at every single meeting. I don't believe that we need to go ahead and try to legislate that. Let the voters go ahead and take care of it. And go ahead and have a shorter meeting tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I saw Carmen and Ben. You're on mute, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening. Ben Figueroa, 12022 Griffin Boulevard. Congratulations to the newly elected officials. I am excited to have joined this village since last November. And I'm actually attending this meeting for the first time. And I am sure this is not the appropriate venue for me to bring up what I'm going to bring up. But maybe the newly appointed village manager can help. I know we face this pandemic, unprecedented times, and all of the taglines that we've become accustomed to, and of course the wearing of masks. But for a very long time, we've been pending a building permit so that we can renovate our home. And I find it inappropriate that no one can return my call from the building department. And I would hope that someone will get the message to Ms. SP or whoever is responsible and help us move our permit along. We've invested a great deal of money. We're very excited to move into our new home and renovate and become a part of this village. Please help us get there by removing the administrative obstacles that are preventing us from moving on with our lives. Thank you for your time.
Ben, was your address 11243 Griffin?
No, 12022 Griffin.
I wasn't even close.
Thank you.
I was on Griffin.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Anyone else? Public comment?
I don't see.
Do you see anybody? I don't see anyone.
Me neither.
Okay. If there's no one, I will close public comment. And we will do a proclamation.
Hold on. 4C, the reorganization of the meeting, selection of a mayor.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
4C is the reorganization of the meeting to select the mayor.
Oh, okay. We're doing that before the proclamation. Okay, Roseanne, you want to take over the meeting, please?
Yeah, the commission, if someone wants to speak, go ahead.
Well, there's no seniority.
No.
Oh,
We could just speak.
if you want to nominate someone.
I'm not hearing it. Dan, oh, I can't hear what you're talking. You can't hear me? No, I heard that. So what do I need to do? Now I hear you. Okay. So I've thought about this long and hard, and I think that based on what I've seen on mute. Okay. Is that better? There you go.
There you go.
All right. So
Based on what I've seen in the community and the tons of emails that I've received, text messages, phone calls, smoke signals, basically supporting Mac's nomination as the manager. I mean, I'm sorry, as the mayor. Your job's secure. You know, the fact that he also received about 1,000 votes of the 2,100 registered voters in this community, I think that our job here as commissioners is not to determine what we feel is in the best interest of the community, but what the community wants. So having said all of that, I feel that for me, it's just a logical vote to vote for Mac based on this community support that he's received, which has been outstanding, and I think it's a record as far as how many votes he received in this past election. Obviously, he's doing something right, and he's getting the community behind him. So, based on that, I would like to nominate Mac for the village manager. I mean, mayor. Sorry. Jesus.
I'm gonna call the vote.
Yeah, call the vote.
So Art Gonzalez, yes.
Yes.
I'm going for start. Densa Mary,
No.
Virginia Hall, McKenna.
I didn't know we were going to jump right into a vote. I thought we were going to have a discussion.
So the commission is gonna vote.
There's no discussion.
There's no discussion?
No discussion.
Usually you don't have.
Okay, so that a motion was made. Okay, I vote yes.
Judy Hammerborg,
No.
not passed. 3-2.
I'd like to say something now since that motion died. Look, what I really wanted to say, I didn't know. Can you hear me? I'm echoing like crazy.
We're gonna ask for if you have another nomination.
Yes.
So we have no discussion here? We just keep nominating?
It's nominated. Yep.
I can't, I'm sorry, all I'm hearing is that way, and I'm not hearing your answers represented.
It's no discussion, just nominate.
Okay, but
Your plugs off, you hear a lot better.
Yeah, who nominated you already explained all the reasons, and there's no discussion. They voted, now.
I don't want to discuss that. No, I'm not asking to re-discuss that motion. I'm just asking to discuss the topic. I mean, is it in the rules somewhere that we just jump into a nomination and then jump into another one and another one? Is that how this works, or can we have a conversation here?
There's no conversation.
I don't see that there's any rules about how this has to be done. We decide how we do this, so I'd like to say something.
Commissioner Gonzalez nominated you, and he explained, he put out all the reasons.
I heard that.
Nominated.
I heard that. That motion is done. That motion didn't pass, I understand.
So is this a question that we should ask Ed? Should we ask Ed?
Yes, accident.
I understand the motion didn't pass. I think it's done. We're moving on to the next thing. I'm asking if I could just say something without making a nomination. I don't understand why we're jumping in both feet into a nomination. There are 5 adults here who were all elected to office, and we have a duty here to elect the mayor. I think that merits a more serious consideration.
Yes,
I'm not criticizing the department. And thank you for the nomination, by the way.
It's very hard to hear you.
What I'm saying is, I think maybe we could do this in a more professional way.
With this audio situation, the log cabin is not great. I just think that there's a better way to go about this, is what I'm saying. I mean, rather than have someone else nominate and keep going on. I'm just going to say what I want to say, because I'm a commissioner and I'm allowed to talk. So I'm talking, I'm going to keep going. So this is a very big decision we're going to make. And I think it merits a more serious consideration in the way we do this, jumping in and nominating people. I think it would be more appropriate if we went down and each of us spoke about our interest in the position, because supposedly we all 5 came in here tonight never having discussed this with each other since we got elected, at least, because their sunshine came into effect immediately. I want to hear who wants to do this. I want to hear not I'm willing to do it, not I'll do it if you guys ask me to. I want to hear who wants to do it. You're basically, now you're applying for a different job. We were all elected to be commissioners, and now one of us will get a separate job. It's not a different job. We still keep, I'm sorry, Judy, I keep forgetting you're sitting to my right. I know, but I should look at you. My point is that we were all elected to do the same job. Now, one of us is getting an extra job, not a different job. We still have to do the job we were elected for. That doesn't change. But now we take on additional responsibility. I want to hear who wants to do it and why they think they're qualified to do it. It's not, Roseanne, why are you shaking your head? No, who says we can't do it that way?
Because that's not the way.
Not the way where?
Nomination.
What, it's not the way where? Show me where it's not the way. And maybe it's not the way we've always done it. But why can't we do something a better way? Where does it say this is how we do it every time? Look, guys, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm trying to help us make a good, smart decision here. And I want to know who wants to do the job and what makes you think you're qualified to do it so we can pick the best one among the group. Is that not a reasonable thing to do when you're deciding who's going to be the leader of the group?
Madam Mayor, I think we should ask the attorney.
The mayor's not running the meeting now. Roseanne's running the meeting.
Okay,
And that's one of the
Roseanne.
things you need to try to keep track of.
I knew this was going to start.
So if I may, from what I read today on our charter, it says that we have to elect a mayor. But it doesn't give specific rules on how that process is to transpire.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're open to interpretation as to how that process transpires. So I think that, what Commissioner Kennedy is saying, that he would like to add, and I think at the end of the day, I don't know if it's his decision to make, or if it's your decision to make, or if it's your consultation with the attorney. But if there's no specific regulations on the process, then perhaps it's open to interpretation.
So can I ask the commission to vote? Commission change the system to select a new mayor?
Well, I don't
Can I
think
go
there
through
is a
that?
system, though.
So the commission.
Okay, just be clear that I'm having a hard time hearing. Just be clear that I'm not suggesting changing the system. There is no system. Art's absolutely right. It just says we select the mayor.
Right.
It doesn't specify how we do it. So I'm not suggesting we change anything. I'm merely suggesting that the five of us, grown professional people who were just given this authority for this very important decision,
maybe we need to
that will last for 2 years, and we need to step in and get to work now, that we have that conversation. I'd like to hear from every one of my colleagues up here if they want to do it, because they may not want to, if they want to do it, and why they think they're qualified to do it, and how they're willing to excel at this for us.
Commissioner Samari, can you state how you want to conduct that selection?
I want the selection done the way it's always been. We select the mayor. People don't have to say that they want the job. You want to say, I want the job to be mayor. I think I'm qualified. I mean, that's not the way it should be. It should be that we have somebody nominate a person. Because I think every single commissioner here is qualified to be mayor. Mayor is not a gigantic position. It's just one of 5 commissioners that basically runs the meeting. I think every single commissioner here is qualified to be mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Gonzalez, you already stated that you want to.
I already stated that I believe that since it's not stipulated as to the process of selecting a mayor, that it's open to interpretation. Now, we may want to change that going forward, but as it sits today, it just says we need to vote for a mayor, but it doesn't tell us how we get to that. So we may want to add specific rules when it comes to that, but currently today, as it stands, just because we've done something forever the same way doesn't mean that it's, that it applies. So that's my position.
Okay, Commissioner Halpin.
I think we should ask the lawyer how we proceed.
Okay, Commissioner Kennedy.
I'm completely fine with asking Ed to chime in on this, but I feel very strongly that we should have a conversation, and I'll just restate it. it's an important decision we're making, guys. It's not an emotional decision. It's not who you think is owed it for some reason. The mayor runs meetings in a professional, concise way, keeping them moving, and has a responsibility to pull out the best from each of us.
Commissioner Hannibal.
And they are required to function fully as a commissioner while they do that. They take on additional responsibility. They don't relinquish their responsibility and become an administrator to run a meeting. They take on the additional responsibility, and I think it's important we make a good, smart decision. And I want to hear who wants it, for starters.
Commissioner Hannibal. You need to get closer.
I should make it shorter and sweeter and not say 3 hours.
Okay.
Could you repeat that, Judy? I'm sorry.
I think we should make it shorter and sweeter and not take 3 hours doing it.
All right.
I didn't say anything.
So
I didn't get that.
she said take short, not take 3 hours.
Mr. Ed, can you please comment on that?
There's Ed.
The fact of the matter is there is no procedure either in the charter or in the code of ordinances. My recommendation would be that somebody make a motion to establish what the procedure is going to be this evening, and then we can address the issue going forward for the next 2 years from now. But that's entirely up to you folks to decide what process you want to use, whether you're going to allow campaigning or you're going to just do it by nomination. But I would suggest to you that there's already a vote that's been taken. And so, unless someone from the majority moves to reconsider, I believe that vote stands. But for going forward, you folks need, as a collegial body, need to decide how you want to proceed with the vote this evening.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the process for selecting the mayor tonight. That would entail going right down the line, whichever direction Roseanne chooses to go, and have each of us speak to our interest in taking over this additional responsibility and what we think will make us do it well, and to be able to be a successful commissioner at the same time.
Do we have a second?
I'm sorry?
Do we have a second for the motion?
I can't understand this.
I didn't hear.
Would you like me to restate it? Getting in as far as I can.
Okay, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the following process to select the mayor tonight, that we go down the row and each of us expresses our interest or not interest in having this position and why we think we would be successful in the position on behalf of this village and how we would also be a successful commissioner at the same time.
I believe that Mr. Dion suggested that we do this for 2 years from now if we're going to set it up.
No, Ginny, that's not at all what he said. You completely misunderstood what he said, Ginny. Not even close. He said to adopt a process for this evening, and later we can adopt another process for 2 years down the road.
Commissioner
We started the process already. Okay, Ed, did you clarify what you said?
No, that's what I said. You need to establish a process for tonight. Whether it's everybody speak or nobody speak, or you just do nominations like you did before. But somebody, the 5 of you need to decide what tonight's process is going to be.
Okay. We have a motion from Commissioner Kennedy. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
I'm sorry? A second. Commissioner Samari?
No.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Here, dude.
Commissioner O'Hopping?
No.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Hammerberg,
No.
motion failed 3-2. Does someone have a motion? How to-
Can someone come up with a better idea and make a motion? Let's go, folks. Judy doesn't want to do this for 3 hours.
Okay, I make a motion. I make a motion to go back to the other way where we have nominations and select the mayor.
Commissioner
I
Samaria?
second that.
Okay,
I didn't hear your motion.
I'll repeat it again. I'd like to make a motion that we continue the process that we had in the past of selecting the mayor the way we've done it in the past. And we can look at doing it in the future.
you mean via nomination, Commissioner Samaria?
Yeah, the nomination process to
Okay.
consider how we had it before.
We still have the second, Commissioner Hammerberg?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Samaria? Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Hara?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
No.
Commissioner Hammerberg?
Yes.
Motion passed 4-1. Do we have another nomination?
I'd like to nominate Jenny O'Halpin for mayor.
I'm going for the vote. Commissioner Samaria?
Yes.
Did someone second it?
You don't
No,
have to say it.
that's a nomination.
There's no second.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
No.
Commissioner O'Hara?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Well, I have to say, based on the fact that you just misunderstood the clear direction from our attorney, I have to say no.
Commissioner Hammerberg?
Yes.
Motion passed 3-2. Virginia O'Hara, continue the mayor.
Thank you. Okay, we'd like to do a proclamation for Veterans Day. Can people hear me, or is it echoing as bad as I hear?
I can hear you well.
I'd like to have it, if the city manager would be okay, with it, I'd like to have him do the proclamation for Veterans Day.
You want the city manager to read the proclamation?
If he doesn't want to do it, then I'll do it.
I'd suggest that Commissioner Samaria do it.
Okay, I know, I was just trying to, okay, thank you. Proclamation, Veterans Day, November 11, 2020. Whereas it has long been an American custom to commemorate November 11th, the anniversary of the ending of World War I. By paying tribute to the heroes of the tragic struggle and redecorating ourselves to the cause of peace, and declaring a legal holiday in 1938 and renaming it Armistice Day, and again renaming it Veterans Day in 1954. And whereas spouses, parents, siblings, and children of those serving in the military often shadow increased burdens and responsibilities that their servicemen and women report to duty, often happen to endure the stress of frequent relocations. And whereas many veterans carrying painful memories and bearing physical and emotional scars from their service, too often leaving families behind by veterans' suicide, and whereas our federal government has declared November a National Veterans and Military Families Month to solemnly remember the sacrifices of all those who fought so bravely on the seas, in the air, and foreign shores to preserve our heritage of freedom. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Mayor, Gina Hoffman, the Mayor of Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, joined by the entire commission to hereby proclaim November 2020 as National Veterans and Military Families Month, and to encourage residents to take the moment to meet veterans and their families here in the village of Biscayne Park, and to thank them personally for their service to and to sacrifice our country. Dated the 17th day of November 2020, Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, Mayor Gina Hoffman. And I ask if it's possible, we can have a moment of silence to honor those veterans that we have lost.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Samaria. Roseanne, you want to discuss the consent agenda?
Before we move on, we skip the additions and deletions.
Are there any additions and deletions?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kennedy, you wanted?
Yeah, I have a couple of things.
Go ahead.
Well, Gage Hartong contacted me, he's on the agenda this evening.
Is that better?
Yes.
Gage Hartong is on the agenda tonight. He's coming back to us with the report that we requested him to do on his meeting with the FAA group. And he's asking if he could have his item pushed up because he doesn't want to sit through the entire meeting. And I think we should accommodate Gage. So I'll like to add that and we'll vote on all these at one time. Solid waste is not on the agenda in any way. And our extended contract expires December 31st. So that's 30 days after Mario takes his new position. He's going to jump into a lot here. I think that we should have some kind of a discussion about that. And I have one specific thing that I'm going to request if we have that discussion. I'm very concerned that this commission has just sort of ignored that that's happening. We knew about this. Waste Pro responded to us, 3 weeks ago? And I asked for a special meeting for all of us to discuss it, and Ginny said no. So we're acting like everything but solid waste is hunky-dory. It's not, folks. A couple of weeks, we have no contract for solid waste, and they've replied to us with something that needs to be discussed, and Mario's going to have to make a decision on this. He's not employed here this evening, but he's here, and I think we need to talk about that. I want a real quick answer from somebody, I guess Ginny at the end, if the state of emergency is being extended again. I never heard anything. I'd like to withdraw the commission meeting minutes from the consent agenda. They were not included in the packet. I'm not criticizing Roseanne in any way. She had a crazy weather week here in the village and she's trying to manage all the flooding response.
She's withdrawing that.
Okay, well, I don't know that, so I'm asking them to be withdrawn.
Okay.
I would like a CARES Act update from Roseanne as well. I think there was a submission deadline for the CARES Act money, and I would just like to hear her report back on that to know if that was done on time, if we made that deadline. I have two things that if we have time at the end, the attorney section is all the way at the end. If we have time, I would like to have a quick conversation with the attorney about board alternates. We tripped over some board alternate issues. We appointed people to a board. We appointed an alternate, and then we found out, according to our attorney, there's no such thing as a board alternate. We've had them for years on different boards, and they've been voting members. They've sat in, they've made quorum, they've voted on things, and he's telling us we can't do that. So we need to have a conversation about that, and I'm not sure why anyone's shaking their head no, because the attorney told me this himself. So he said, I need you guys to tell me what you want to do about that. I think we need to decide that. There's another small thing that he brought to my attention about in our variance application. There's a place where it says neighbors have to be notified, and it's not in another place. And he said that needs to get tightened up. I'm going to ask him to address that. I would like to have my item, the statement of principles, moved up closer to the top of the meeting. I think it sort of impacts a lot of how we'll discuss things tonight. If that could get moved up to the top of new business, I'd appreciate that. And then we've had a lot of flooding here, folks. I'm not sure how much the rest of you have heard from these poor people who have been flooded, but we have people who twice in 1 week had water intrusion in their homes, septic systems backed up into their yards. And there's the issue of drains is contributing to some of this. I know we're not going to fix it tonight, Mario, but we have some residents who are living in some pretty dire situations here for several days in the same week. And I think that we need to discuss, drains won't get fixed tonight, but I think we need to discuss how flooding, our flooding response, how this village responds to flooding, because we have traffic that's causing horrible major problems for people where cars are pushing water into people's yards and homes. And I don't think we're responding to that well. I'm hoping we can have a quick conversation about that. So when Mario steps in, he has some information handed to him day one, because Mario, the next time it rains like that, and it could be tomorrow, Gabe Napolitano, Ilana Schreiger, the Medeas on 121st, Susana Lopez directly across the street, Louis de Ramondo, the Raymonds. There are people who I can name because I've talked to them many, many, many times in the past 10 days that are going to have water in their house again. And we need to do what we can do to alleviate that situation for them. A lot of us were impacted by flooding. We had flooding at our house too, Dan and I, but not in our home. And that's completely different. And traffic wasn't making it happen. So I would like to have a conversation about that. So those are the things I would like to add to withdraw and change on the agenda. Not hearing you, Ginny.
Is there any other additions and deletions for the consent agenda? Roseanne, you're deleting the commission minutes.
I would like to withdraw the commission minutes from the agenda because I didn't have time to finish. I'll submit on the December 1st meeting, commission meeting.
Okay. Can we just vote on the acceptance of the board minutes before we put Gage on?
Before we have to vote on the change of the agenda, Mayor.
Okay.
Are you going to accept all the items that Commissioner Kennedy?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. We accept the consent agenda. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Gage, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
You are. Okay. Would you like to give your report on FAA?
Sure thing. Good evening, everybody, and congratulations to the new commission. I was directed by you to attend a meeting of the local communities that all came together to discuss and to create and discuss a path forward to fighting the FAA flight paths. I did forward Roseanne the report that I did, and it was forwarded out to, I believe, to everybody there. Basically, the principals are Mike Eaton. He's kind of, first of all, it's not really a organized, chartered like organization. It's really just a bunch of people that are all concerned that came together to discuss it. Representing was Mike Eaton, who's kind of the person that spearheaded it. Jason Pizzo, our senator, was there. There's an attorney named Steve Tabor, who's had a lot of FAA lawsuit history. And then we had attorneys representing the towns of Surfside, Indian Creek, as well as Bay Harbor Islands and Keystone Point Homeowners Association. They were all represented. Basically, we need to file a petition for review that the village is objecting to the new flight paths by December 14th. They've already started the implication process, and basically we have a window of time that expires on the 14th to do so. They have not officially changed the routes yet. They're still using the old routes, but they are definitely using one of the old routes, which directs them directly up over all of our homes. So Surfside and Onion Creek have already hired an attorney, this Alex Irby, to represent them, and they are going to be filing a petition for review with the circuit court to basically fight this and get a hearing with a federal, a federal judge. So they are already in the process. I know that North Miami is in the process. That came up in the discussion, as well as I believe Bay Harbor Islands or North Bay Village, I believe, is also in board. They did not have a representative there that I knew of, but they, from what I understand, they're also concerned. So we basically have to file a petition. It takes about a year for it to work its way through before it gets a hearing. They're not sure if they want to do an 11th Circuit court, which would be more of a local court, which some people argue that it might actually be better because those judges actually might live in the area and be affected by the flight pass. But then there was also the discussion of doing the DC court, which has more FAA experience. So I believe there was going to be a discussion, and we were going to let North Bay, Bay Harbor Islands, and North Bay, Surfside, and Indian Creek, excuse me, take the lead, and they would make a decision which way we should go. We would go to a 3-judge panel. They would hear it. We would have to provide evidence and for them to review it, and then they would make the decision on, at that point. It's kind of an uphill battle, but I think it's something that we all should be taking serious. So the first step really that came out of this meeting is that each individual municipality needs to file their own petition for review. It's only, according to them, about a $450 filing fee. It's a straightforward 1-page, 2-page document, but it's basically just stating that the Biscayne Park is actually opposed to the new flight pass, and that we want to be, heard and be reviewed and have it reviewed. And then at that point, whatever all the villages that do come together, most likely the judge is going to pull this all together as one party, and then that'll go forward at that point. But for now, the most important thing is getting our voice heard, and we have until December 14th to do so. I understand at the last commission meeting, you actually gave Roseanne the permission to spend $500 on this. So I'd like to ask if you guys are in agreement to instruct Ed to go ahead and file this petition and get it ready and get it filed on our behalf.
Gage,
and I'll take any
if I could ask you a question.
Sure.
Did they discuss the League of Cities at all? That the possibility of the League of Cities coming in and filing?
Yes, Jason Pizzo did say that there is in discussion with the League of Cities, but as far as I remember, they have not heard anything yet. So again, we're running up against a deadline. That's the thing here.
Yeah, I think we're having a meeting next week, so I'll probably find out more about that at the League of Cities.
Madam Mayor.
Hi, this is Dave Caserta here. How are you?
Dave's here. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Mayor, and welcome, Commission. And first of all, I want to welcome all of the new commissioners, Judy, Art, and Mac, and also want to welcome a great decision in Mario Diaz. I think you're in good hands when it comes to management of the village needs. So congratulations to all. In answering your question, Mayor, the Florida League, I've already had an opportunity to speak with them on this issue. Many times they usually get involved only at the end, and it has to have a statewide impact usually when they really get engaged. So you might find that they might tag along at some point and show some support. I promised that I would talk with them again to see if we can encourage them, because from what I understand from the attorney's review as well, Gage, you can confirm this, other places are involved too, like Orlando and others, but they might not be as impacted. But the more that we can get involved, the more of a state impact that it will have. And that's where we can really try to pull in, like Florida League, into this process.
They were going to discuss it with their legal department last week, the League of Cities. So I didn't get an answer yet on that. So.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to come out with the $500 that we not gonna cover.
Oh yeah, well let Gage finish. Gage, are you finished?
Pretty much. I'll take any questions, but I think that's the way forward. Is we let Indian Creek and Surfside kind of take the lead, and it's a good thing because they're also they're wealthier communities. They might be able to be able to we kind of tag along on their attorneys at this point.
Certainly Indian Creek, certainly Indian Creek, yes.
So it's a good thing to have them as the point communities at this point. One thing that we should consider too is I believe Miami Shores has not really shown any interest in this fight. And if we could maybe somehow reach out to them to at least get them to file a petition so that.
I did. I spoke to the mayor. I brought her over here. I gave her our resolution, and I've called so many times, and I've never gotten an answer back, but I will continue.
Yeah. I mean, they have
Miami Shores.
Yeah. Their residents that are east of Biscayne are probably being impacted just like we are.
And I'm sure. I don't know why she was over here. I don't know why.
Yeah. But
she was supposed to bring it up there, and she hasn't told me she brought it up yet.
Yeah, El Portal is doing it. So if we could get the 3 villages together, unified, that would be great.
But I'll call her again tomorrow. Crystal.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Sure.
Go ahead, Mayor Kennedy. Go ahead.
Ed, is this something? The question is for Ed. Where are you? There you are, Ed. Ed, is this document something that you could produce for us, or would you get a law firm who has some special area to do this, or would you handle that for us?
We don't have any expertise in aviation law. My recommendation would be that you guys join in with Surfside and Indian Creek and use their attorney if there's something for the village to file. But I don't know what that would be, who it gets filed with, or any of that stuff. So
can I ask you, Ed?
Could we get a copy of theirs, take a look at it, and see who they filed it with, and then basically mirror the language and do the same thing?
Not my law firm.
No.
We're not qualified to do it, Mac. We don't.
So I'm asking. I don't know.
We don't practice that law. So.
Okay, so then the answer is someone else has to do it. Okay.
You're going to have to hire someone else to do it in this instance. We just don't have that expertise. It's like asking us to do a hit and run case. We just don't, or a criminal case. We just don't do that kind of work.
Understood. So your recommendation then is that we go talk to their attorney. Is that something you would do on our behalf and see if they would handle it for us? Or is that something Mario would do? Because we have a deadline of the 14th of December. Mario doesn't start till the 1st.
It would ordinarily be the manager, but we're happy, whoever the heck they are, we're happy to reach out to them.
Okay, Dave, can you get that information for Mr.
Sure.
Dion?
Dave, do you know Alex Yerby's contact information? We'll speak separately, and I'll get that from you. So, but I did.
So do we agree that's a good idea?
Petitions that Steve Tabor showed as examples of our petition. So we do have some example that was included in your packet.
Yes. Can I have a question, Gage?
Yes.
When you mentioned you have to pay the fee of $500, that means when we pay the fee, we are joining the lawsuit?
No, we are filing our own separate individual personal petition to appeal. We're not actually review. I mean, petition for review. We're not joining in. We're just doing something on our own.
Okay.
The directive that came out of the meeting was that each individual community, village, or town should be filing their own petition so that they can see that there's all these multiple localities that are being impacted and that are objecting to it.
Okay.
So might we have, and you step in and tell me if this is appropriate or allowed, might we have Ed go talk to this other attorney, find out what it would entail, what they would charge us, and Ed, how could you report that back to us before the December 1st meeting? Could you put it on the agenda and have it there for us to discuss? Or can we do that outside of the meeting? I guess not outside of the meeting, huh?
Not outside the meeting.
So maybe we could ask Ed to get that done for us so we have that to look at on December 1st and we can make a decision then. Guys, anyone?
Okay, Gage, you'll give Mr. Dion that information.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mario will work
Okay.
with him.
And David,
He'll be in touch with you. Okay?
Okay, but hold on. If we're going to do something on December 1st, we need to give someone some direction to come back to us, because December 1st is Mario's first day.
And he'll know the answer by then, I think, right?
A little casual.
You gotta unmute yourself, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, but it's not, we're not starting a lawsuit. It's not
There
a
you are.
lawsuit.
Yes.
What did
Well-
you use the word, Gage?
It's a petition for review. It's not, we're not suing anybody. We're just filing
Right.
a petition.
It's a petition for a review.
From what I understand, it's a rather simple petition. It's just stating your disagreement with their decision. And then basically, as they follow their lawsuit, hopefully the judge then will bring everybody in at that point and have that discussion. So, and I do believe that based on conversations in the past that the DC court seems to be where they might end up, because that's probably going to be the best in this situation, because these are not easy to get through. But I could also do some research as well with regards to the petition, Ed, if you'd like.
Okay. Gage, you'll speak to Mario and to Ed, please.
Yes. But I mean, can we at least get a direction from the commission that we do want to file a petition? And that's the direction we want to go, so that we do want to, get involved with fighting this.
Well, I think we already did that last week with the $500 that we'll.
No, we did not. All we did was tell them we were going to spend money if there was a reason to spend money. We never discussed the position. We never instructed anyone to do it.
Guys, we need to make a decision here.
Well, it's hard to make a motion.
Make a motion.
I would like to make a motion.
Hold on, Jude. There you go.
I'm echoing in my own ears.
Yeah, we're all echoing.
I know.
Seriously.
I would like to make a motion to direct Gage and Ed and the village manager and clerk to pursue filing a petition and see what we need to do, and to give them the $450 they need for the petition for review.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Just for clarification,
Yes.
I thought that what we were trying to do is to get information from the attorney who's representing the other two municipalities to find out if he would be willing to do that on behalf of the village. Once again, we are not qualified to do that. I don't know what court to file that in. And, I appreciate what Gage and Dave are telling me, but frankly, they're not lawyers. And, we're just not equipped to do that type of thing. So if your motion is to direct me to file that, the answer is no, thank you.
For clarification, Ed is completely correct. What it sounds like everybody's going to do is to take a look at the other attorney and see what he would charge to file this petition. So I think Ed is correct. He has said that he does not do this, and so our law firm does not practice that either. So we wouldn't do it either. So clarification, well said, Ed. So I agree.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but there's.
Do you want to modify that, Judy, or resend it?
I will resend it.
Judy, can you restate it with also the caveat that we seek out as another attorney to file this on our behalf, and find out what the cost will be for that, because it's going to be more than $450.
Okay. So let me see if I can go through that again. The motion would be that we pursue the filing of the
Petition for review.
to review and pursue what the cost would be to get the attorney and the attorney that is doing it for the other jurisdictions involved with ours as well.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, then let's discuss it real quickly. I'm okay with that in general.
But I'd like to be more comfortable with that if the instruction was to ask Ed to discuss with the attorney what it would cost and report back to us at the December 1st meeting so we can make a decision then, Judy. So on December 1st, we have the information to make a decision.
I don't think Ed wants to discuss that.
No, Ed doesn't want to write it.
Yeah, I don't have any problem speaking with the attorney and
Okay.
attempting to get that information. And plus, you know, later on in the meeting, when it comes to our report, I talked to Mr. Diaz and he advised me that the mayor and he had met with Sally Hayman, and there's another resolution that we need to have. We probably need to call a special meeting for, because they have to have it before December the 1st, and it has to deal with CITT and PTP monies. So,
Right, so we're going to have a special meeting anyway.
so I will try to get that information to you prior to that special meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So what's the vote for the motion, Mayor?
Just a question, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
If the attorney comes back and says that is it $400?
Oh my God.
We're going to get instructions from an attorney how much it's going to cost. We're not going to pay the $400.
Okay, but what Mario is just saying is true. We're going to have a special meeting. We met and I'm going to have to call a special meeting before December 1st. So we will have a special meeting, and we'll bring this up also. It's on the SIP funds. And do you remember, Mario, when that meeting that Miami-Dade is having, that will be, I don't remember the date.
Yes, Madam Mayor. So the first reading for an ordinance that the county commission is, our county commissioner, Sally Hayman, would like to pass would be on December 1st. So one of the conversations that I've had, correct. So one of the conversations that I've had with her with regards to SIT is a resolution to see how the village can move forward on the 20% expenditure. So I was planning to give a more detailed update later in the meeting.
Okay, good.
I think for the purpose of the FFA conversation, I can definitely work with Gage and Ed to get some information from the other attorney so that we can present something to you prior to December 1st. I'd also like to point out that if the consensus of the commission today is to vote on moving forward with a petition, then we have somewhat of a direction as to finding out what that is, and if the expenditure is within the manager's discretion, he can do that with that kind of vote. But what I would recommend, because I would ask for a special meeting prior to December 1st, is just give us a little bit of time so that we can move ahead and get all the information that you need and come back to you. And so the special meeting would be for 2 items. One item would be for the FAA, and the other would be a CITT related item.
Right.
Okay, well, guys, if we're going to do that, then if we're going to call a special meeting, we should look at our calendars now and figure it out, because next week is Thanksgiving week. So there's only 2. You say you want to do it before the December 1st meeting. That's 2 weeks from tonight. So we better pick a date and a time right now that it works for everybody.
What we can do is we can coordinate the schedules after the meeting or tomorrow to be able to get that, and then we can schedule that and give the public notice. We don't have to go through a scheduling discussion right now during the meeting.
Okay. Well, next week's Thanksgiving. Keep that in mind.
Understood.
We all know. We're doing turkeys. The,
Motion on the floor.
okay, so,
Mayor,
we're doing old business. What?
we have a motion on the floor that we didn't, Commissioner Hammerberg didn't rescind.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of Judy's motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Judy.
All right.
Okay, are we,
For the resolutions.
Yes. We have to go back to the resolutions, please.
Did we do consent? Did we approve consent?
Yes, I get that.
yes. The village managers agreement?
A resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, authorizing the appropriate village officials to execute the employment agreement between the Village of Biscayne Park and Mario Diaz, appointing Mario Diaz as village manager of the Village of Biscayne Park, providing for an effective date.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-61, Village Management Agreement.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Do we have to, do we have to do a vote?
You have to do a vote, yes.
Yeah, okay. Roseanne, call the roll, please.
Mayor
No,
Hoppe?
no, you can do it by voice vote. It's
Oh,
not.
okay. Okay,
We did it.
okay. Any opposed? Okay, all agree. All right, resolution 2020-52.
A resolution of, a resolution.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's true. You're in for it now. A resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, approving a second extension to the First Amendment to the agreement between the Village of Biscayne Park and Calvin Giordano and Associates, Inc., for the provision of building plan review and inspection services and municipal planning department services, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a resolution 2020-62. I apologize for pronouncing his name. Agreement second to 12/31/2020.
Is there a second on that? You made a motion, right?
Yeah, I made a motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
I have some questions about this, please, before we vote on it.
Okay. Go ahead,
According to my
Mike.
notes at the August meeting, am I on? Yeah. According to my notes at the August meeting, we agreed to extend their agreement to November 30th, 3-0, not November 1-3. This extension says it starts on November 13th. According to my notes, it's to November 30th. So I need confirmation on that date. Is that correct? It was November 30th was the extension, not November 13th. That was in my notes. You might want to check that because we're going to pass a resolution. The date's wrong. But more importantly, we said in that period of time between August and November that the reason we were getting that extension was that the village would negotiate a new split and fee schedule. Did that happen?
No, it didn't happen.
No. So then how can we approve this extension when the whole intent of this extension was to negotiate a new split and fee schedule?
The extension is approved, the extension maintained the same split, 65 and 35%.
Okay, but at the August meeting, we agreed that we would extend it to November 30th, and that we would then, in that time, when we looked at this new extension, that we would have a new split and fee schedule negotiated, and we didn't hire a manager in that time. So I'm wondering, does Mario now have until December 31st to negotiate that? And Mario, I know I'm throwing stuff at you here on the fly, and you're not even employed yet, but if we extend this to December 31st, does Mario have from his start date for the month of December time to negotiate a new split and fee schedule? I mean, are you aware of that, that has to be done, Mario?
So I was not aware on the extension for the negotiation, although I can tell you right now that the 65-35 is fairly common margin. So if we're looking to further split that a little bit more, I don't think that we're too far off from what other cities may be able to do. So I would feel confident to bring you back, not for December 1st, but I would feel confident to bring you back an extension to be able with a negotiated rate.
Right, because if we extend this, this is through December 31st. We only have one meeting in the month of December, your first day to discuss this. So I'm not
Vice Mayor
certain.
Kennedy, can I speak now? Yes, the commission indicated the commission Chief Cabrera to negotiate with Calvin Giordano. He initiated the conversation. At some point, I believe the conversation didn't continue, and we need to extend because now we have a manager that it's just a matter of closing the few items that he can negotiate very easily, very fast. That's why.
Okay, so Mario, can you get that done from December 1st to December 31st? We have one meeting to do this. I mean, I don't know then if you negotiate something, do you have to come back to us with a contract that we approve with the new terms in it? Because it is, my point is it expires on December 31st. I just don't want us to trip over dates here. We're extending this now to December 31st, and you've got to go make sure that negotiation was done and the fee schedule and everything. And I'm glad the chief was on top of that. But all I'm saying is there's only one more meeting before this contract will expire.
Correct. Thank you for pointing that out, Vice Mayor. So yes, I think that is sufficient time for me to be able to negotiate the contract, although I would ask for additional leeway from the commission to extend the contract through the commission meeting in January so that I can bring back a contract for you to vote on.
Well, what I was going to suggest is should we ask them if we could extend this contract to January 31st, and that gives you from December 1st all the way through January to get this done, and you have a January meeting to come back and talk to us. Yeah, so is that possible? Could we try to get this contract extended and give I don't want Mario, look,
they will.
How many things are we going to throw at Mario day one? How many times have we said today, he starts on December 1st and this has got to get done by December 2nd. So I don't want Mario tripping over stuff here. That's not fair. So if do you think Chief, do you think we could get this, since you were dealing with them, do you think we could get this extended to January 31st?
Yeah, that won't be a problem. And I know Calvin Giordano, I have a
You'll be in
relationship with him
contact
now. So.
immediately, yes. You'll be in contact.
Yeah. Okay, so should we, this resolution, should we change it to have the second extension through January 31st so Mario has time to get his job done for us?
Mayor?
No, Commissioner Samaria, no, you don't have to vote down yours. You can just make a friendly amendment or accept a friendly amendment on the date, and the motion can carry forward.
I'd like to make a motion to have the second extension. I agree with Commissioner Kennedy on this, January 31st,
2021. I think Ed wants to say something here. Should we let Ed jump in here? It looks like he was ready to say something.
No, I just said we can just do a friendly amendment to amend the motion to approve the resolution through January 31st of 2021. That's all.
Okay. January 31st, right? Did I hear?
Yes.
Okay.
2021.
Okay.
We have to vote on that.
Yeah. We take a vote on that. Is all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, that's carried. All right, under old business.
Let me find it here, Falcone. Falcone.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna find here Mr. Falcone. There he is.
Okay.
Sorry, I jumped in so fast.
Am I ready?
Yes.
You're on stage. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good evening, all. My name is Javier Falcone. I'm with Calvin Giordano Associates. I'm the Director of Traffic Engineering. Just a couple of things before I start. First of all, congratulations to all the new elected officials. I submit as part of the agenda packet some memorandum that sort of outlines the background of how we got here. And then attached to the memorandum was a scope of work for the two workshops, one for the village residents and one for the village commission. And so that's what I'm going to discuss at this moment. I'm going to be brief. I know that you're tired and probably ready to go home at this point. So the workshop for the village residents, before we start the workshop, we recommend to do some public outreach. The purpose of the outreach would be to educate the residents on the purpose of the lane repurposing, and also, the posters that can be displayed at, key places around town, Village Hall, the recreation center, and other community gathering locations. Again, the purpose would be to educate the community about the lane repurposing. And then, so by the time they attend the meeting, the workshop, they will have a better idea as to what they're looking for, what they're going to be voting or expressing their interest for. And then also as part of that, we're recommending to use flyers that can be mail out or by email to the residents. And so they will also have an opportunity to understand, have a little background about the land. And then for the public workshop, we have the village residents workshop. Two options. One is a virtual option, which is pretty much a presentation, 30 minutes of presentation, and then 30 minutes of Q&A. But we're gonna make it interactive. So during the presentation, there will be electronic polling going on, and so we gauge the interest of the community, on the land repurposing. And then polling, electronic polling will be, can be seen by all the attendees. And in addition to that, we can follow up with, we can post the results of this meeting in the village website. So then it would be very transparent to all the community. The in-person outreach meeting for the village residents is a little more involved in some ways. So there would be a pub, a village, it'll be outside the village hall, it'll be a tent essentially set outdoors. It can be set outside the village hall or at the recreation center or near location where the land repurposing project is going to happen. And then we'll have some interactive boards. The residents will come in and they'll be able to ask questions directly from me and other members of the Calvin Jordana about the land repurposing, the purpose of the land repurposing. And then, the presentation, and there will be a presentation, and there will be all this interactive discussion with the community. That will be a total of 2 hours. So again, we'll be able to post online the results of this, workshop. And so for everybody to have an opportunity to review, the interests of others on the land repurposing. And finally, the Village Commission workshop, similarly to the one that we had last in October, last commission meeting in October. Well, I'll be making a presentation, and then we'll be interactively, through polling, electronic polling, also interacting with the commission and requesting our input. And towards the end of the presentation or the workshop, we will be able to present the results of the interaction with the community. And so everybody will have an idea as to what the community is thinking about this lane repurposing. And then following that presentation and the feedback from both the commission and the community, then we'll engage the commission in follow-up discussion as to the next steps that we need to do. We need to follow to proceed with this project. So that's the cost of each of the options are included in the memo and the scope attached to the memo. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
I have a couple of questions, if I may.
Sure.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
So from what I read, these workshops are costing us somewhere between $13,000 and $16,000 for these workshops, correct?
Yeah, depending on the option selected. Yeah. One of them is it's with option 1 is 12,000, with option 2 is 15,000. Yes.
So somewhere between $13,000 and $16,000. once we get the community input, and then the next step would be to, I think it was the last meeting,
$15,000.
$15,000, right?
To do the application.
To do the application, okay. Which.
To FDOT.
Right, okay. And then after the application is processed, then there is an additional fee, right?
Yeah, that's 480 or 580.
$480,000, right, or something like that.
Yes,
So
that just to clarify, that is for the actual engineering production of what needs to be approved by FDOT for the land.
Right, and I understand, and I was listening into that meeting, and from what I gathered, obviously there was zero guarantees that anything would happen, even after we spent all of this money, starting with the 13 to 16, going to the 15, and then going to the $480,000. There's no guarantee that FDOT is going to do anything that we request, right?
Well, I think my opinion is that by the time that we finish the workshops, and then we go through the application process, I think that in my informal discussions with FDOT, they're very excited. My discussions with FDOT about this lane repurposing, they have indicated they'll be very, very interested in receiving that input for the community, because before there was no input whatsoever. So that may change the dynamics of this whole project in some ways. No guarantees, of course, but I think it may change the dynamics.
Okay.
On the positive end.
So here's my take on this. I don't know. I've been involved in a few of these calls on 6th Avenue, and it seems that there's not a lot of cohesion where people agree with what they want and what they don't want, right? So in my humble opinion, I think that before we spend any of this money at all, perhaps we do our own zero costs, and figure out what people really are looking for and get their opinions before we spend $1. Because, we're talking about a lot of money.
We're still talking about the school. We're talking about Miami Shores, and we're talking about North Miami approving us doing a mile of one-lane roads, which will never happen as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. But the other thing I would like to do is I would like to table this stuff until after our new manager is in, and maybe put it on the table for later in January or February, because the holidays are coming up, COVID's going crazy, and Mario's starting on December the 1st.
I tend to agree with you, Judy. I think that maybe in the beginning of the year, we can call a meeting with the residents, but have it not, to lay out what we really want or what they want before we spend this type of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, we'll recommend if you proceed with the workshops to have them, next year, obviously, either the beginning of next year. So then after the holidays, that's it. That'll be the idea.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Let me chime in here on a couple of things here, if I may. Well, I have a couple of questions. This is all very specific to the lane elimination, and what we had agreed before was that we needed some professional guidance, and that if we had workshops with the community, we wanted to make sure. Look, I'm all about not spending the money myself, but Xavier, can you confirm that the CITT funds can be spent on this? Is that correct? This can be claimed through CITT?
Yes, that's what they told.
Yes, it can be claimed through CITT. Well, he's talked to them, Dan. He's saying yes, so I'm going to go with him. He's the traffic expert who spoke with CITT directly. Now, here's the other thing. We promised FDOT that we would expedite a response when we asked them, and they very graciously accepted to stop this whole project. they're waiting for an answer from us. So we can't kick the can down the road indefinitely here. One of the things that we promised them was that every step along the way, whenever we discussed anything, we would be in contact with them and let them know. So I would be comfortable. I was going to ask to push this back till January for a discussion, but we've got to let FDOT know. And I would ask the interim manager to make sure that Bao Ying Wang gets an email so she knows what's going on here and what the delay is. But be clear that we can use CITT funds for this. There is the issue that FDOT is out there on 6th Avenue marking the street right now to replace some street lights. So they're saying this is completely unrelated to the 6th Avenue project. To be frank, it worries me a little bit because I can't imagine that they would spend money now replacing street lights when, and it's happening right now. They marked the street this week and they said they'll be in by January is what a resident was told. Actually, I think Roseanne may have gotten an email about that, or maybe they emailed me directly. It was a flurry, but they're out there replacing streetlights. So it worries me a little bit that streetlights are being replaced and they say the project is not taking place. So why would they spend money on streetlights when they're going to come in and possibly change everything, after we approve this project? So I think this needs to be done in the most professional way, because when residents are involved in a workshop, they need to fully understand the implications of all of this that we can't explain to them. We're not professionals. We can't explain how changes on 6th Avenue would impact traffic on the interior streets of the village and on Griffin and all these other things. So that's why we said we needed a professional to come in and do this for us. So I'm just going to ask you guys to make sure that we don't put this off indefinitely, because I'm afraid what's going to happen if we just don't ever respond to FDOT, I'm afraid they're going to pick up and move on their own.
Excuse me, Mario? At our meeting the other day, didn't we expend all the 20% of road work is already gone under our budget?
As of right now, CITT and their executive director, Javier Benzacourt, who I've been in contact with, has told us that all the money that we've received for the 80% for any type of road work or anything like that has already been spent, and the only remaining balance that we can use at this moment is the 20% regarding transit. However, that's not saying that future money can't be allocated for work. I would humbly request that you allow me to come back in January with an update as to what we're doing, because I would not want to allocate that much money of CITT funds to a traffic study when we might be able to work something out with DOT and be able to get a clear vision from the community. I do need to go over the plan in detail and talk with not only the project managers, but also District Secretary Jim Wolf to see what would be the best, in my professional opinion. And I've worked in transportation for over 10 years with DOT and other transportation associations. Reducing the travel lanes is not an easy feat, especially if you're going to go from a 4-lane to a 2-lane back to a 4-lane. You're going to cause a lot of traffic in the surrounding areas. So I think there could be ways to improve the area, ways that the community will be happy with. But I would just request that we kind of push this item until January so that I can come back with a official recommendation from staff and a path forward.
Okay, Commissioner Samaria?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I have no problem pushing till January, but I also don't want to use, we have about 400,000, 500,000 to get CIT, right? I don't want to use all of that money just for this project, and we have a lot of other projects.
I apologize. No wonder it was hearing so good. I apologize. I don't want to use all our CITT, even money in the future, just to do one project. When we have a lot of, as Commissioner Kennedy brought up, we have a lot of problems in Biscayne Park. I don't have a problem moving this to January and having the city manager come back, but I don't want to use all our CITT money, even in the future, to do one project. We have a lot of other stuff in Biscayne Park that needs to be done.
Okay, can we table this till January? Any other discussion?
I'm fine with that. That's what I would like to do, but I would just want to make sure that we communicate with FDOT where we told them, in a resolution, we told them we would do that. So every step along the way, we discussed it. An email needs to go to them. So we need to make sure that Roseanne gets that done like right away so they're aware of what we're doing. I don't want them to think that we're just ignoring them.
I agree, Commissioner Kennedy.
Okay, Roseanne, you'll send the notification to FDOT.
Yes, okay.
And this is tabled to
And to clarify,
January.
the lights they are changed on 6th Avenue is regarding the lights that we lost at the Hurricane Irma.
Yeah.
They are fixing that. There is an email that I forwarded to you, Vice Mayor, that the FDOT informed that. It's clear in there. All right.
I don't think that you understand government. They're going to finish one thing even if they're going to tear it down the following week. So,
oh, yeah.
Government contract. Okay, the next item will be
13. Yes.
your statement of principles. Commissioner Vice Mayor Kennedy.
Yeah, in the interest of moving things along here, do you have any interest in discussing this?
You are muted. You are muted. Now you're okay.
My item, the statement of principles. Do you have any interest in discussing this? Did you read it? You did not read it. Okay. Dan, do you have any interest in discussing this?
No.
No? Art, do you? You'd like to talk about it? Kenny, you want to talk about this?
No, go ahead.
Yeah? Okay.
I'm sorry. Since Commissioner Kennedy brought it up, we can always discuss it. I believe all commissioners, anytime they bring an agenda item up, we should be able to at least discuss it.
Okay.
Fine.
Go ahead.
Okay. So look, here's the deal, guys. And I apologize for adjusting my mask constantly. It's very hard to keep it on. It's kind of small on my face. So heading into this new commission, and every 2 years we hit reset on the clock here in Biscayne Park, and we elect a new commission, and we start moving forward, and we have to do so in the best possible interest in the village. Today marks the start of that, and we are now a group of 5 people who have never worked together before. So Dan and Ginny and I worked together for a while, and now Judy and Art are working with us, and some of us know each other and some of us don't know each other very well. But it's time it is the time that you wipe the slate clean and you set a new, fresh tone. And coincidentally, we have a new village manager starting as well. I tend to be a little Pollyanna-ish about things like this. And I think at opportunities like this, you decide how you can do things in the absolute best possible way. So I am asking you guys to discuss with me tonight and hopefully adopt these non-binding principles to guide us for the next 2 years. Because for 2 years, the 5 of us are working together, and there'll be plenty of times when we're hashing things out and it's going to get tough in this room, but we all have the best for Biscayne Park in our hearts here. And I just think it's a good time to agree on how we'll work together and looking at the possibilities here. So here's what I would like to ask you guys to discuss and adopt, and if you want to add other things to it or whatever. And I came up with these 3 non-binding statements of principle. Number 1, that we promise to actively engage with residents. Guys, I just ran for re-election, and I dare say I did the most campaigning out there. I talked to the most people. I engaged with the people out there. And I'll tell you the one thing that they want more than anything from this commission is for us, all 5 of us, not me, and not the ones who had to go out and ask for votes, all 5 of us to engage with residents, to engage with them on all the topics we're going to discuss, to reach out to them in a proactive way. And I think we could agree that diversity of opinion is a strength, and that we're all better commissioners as a result of a higher level of engagement with our residents. So I think the first statement of principle that I would propose is to promise to actively engage with residents. Number 2 is that we promise not to phone it in. We have all lived in this village for a while, and we've seen commissioners phone it in. We've seen commissioners who sat at this dais and did not contribute, did not do their homework, We've seen commissioners who also, the flip side is they brought fresh ideas and new perspectives to the commission. They came prepared. They came to explain what they wanted to talk about. They defended their position, and they worked through issues. I think it's important that we all promise the residents to do this, that we promise each other that we will do this, and we try to hold ourselves to these principles. These are non-binding. This is not a reason any of us would be removed from the commission. This is a conversation we're having between the 5 of us. And I know a resident, Bob Anderson, spoke saying that these, you can't be held to these. And Bob, I completely respect what you said. I'm looking at you, Bob. But these are non-binding, and I'm recognizing that they're non-binding. But it's just a promise that we're going to make to ourselves. And this would not be something that passes in a formal way. The third thing is that we promise to think and act independently. We have all seen commissions in this village and elsewhere work in little factions, work against each other, and it's not a good way to represent people. We do best when we come in here and act independently of each other, but come together with an open mind and figure out our way through solutions. There's no resource impact on this at all. It's really just a conversation I would like to have. These are 3 things that, whether we all agree to these tonight or not, these 3 principles I'm planning to live by. I heard from residents that these are the kind of things they want from all of us, not just from me, because I was standing there in their front yard having this conversation. They want it from all of us. And they deserve to have that from us. We owe that to the residents. I'm holding myself to this, and I'm asking that you all hold yourself to these too, or whatever other things you want to bring up, and that we start this new commission off on the right foot with this kind of attitude. This is what the village needs. So you guys can discuss, and we can decide what you want to do with this.
So I read this. Of course, I'm muted. So, I read this, and while I certainly agree with the 3 principles that that Commissioner Kennedy wrote on there personally, I don't see how putting this in writing and trying to dictate how individuals will behave or how people will treat each other is something that, we can put on a piece of paper. I just don't see that. I think there's already a mechanism in place to address this, and that's called the vote, right? So, we every 2 years, we get to elect people that we feel are representative of our community and that are doing the right thing, and hopefully engaging with the residents and doing all of the things that Mac just said. I don't see the purpose of this because I don't think, obviously we all know that this is not enforceable. I don't see how, what are we going to do if somebody doesn't follow the rules? Oh, we broke the rule, what are we going to do? There's nothing we can do. Again, it goes back to, in 2 years, they're going to they'll be voted. They'll be voted upon, and they'll either be voted in or they'll be voted out. Some people's techniques rub some people the wrong way, and some people's technique rubs people the right way. So I'm not going to dictate how people behave or how people react. So for me, while I certainly agree with the 3 principles, I don't see a purpose for this. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you. Commissioner Hamilton, would you like to comment on this?
Unmute. Okay, I would pretty much echo what Art says. I don't want anybody holding over my head if I didn't contact somebody or didn't contact them fast enough. Again, we do have full-time jobs, at least for another 3-4 months. After that, I'll have more time after retirement. But I don't want it used against people. I agree that we should be engaging with residents. I certainly did on Monday when we were off of work because of the tropical storm. I walked through the village. I helped some people. I called about some wires that were down. But I don't want anybody saying you didn't do this and you didn't do that, because I think we all do things in our own way and we do things, you know, differently. So as much as, like I said, it's not something I disagree with, I just think having a resolution saying that it's non-binding principles is kind of funny.
Yes. First off, I think, to me, this is, even though I agree with the concept, to me, this is offensive to think that certain people are thinking that commissioners are not following these 3 steps already. And, you know, I reach out to residents. I am prepared and do my homework. I mean, I follow all 3 of these steps, and I bet you all the other commissioners do this the same. To say that we're not doing this is, to me, is very offensive. This should have been done possibly in the last commission, and it wasn't done. So I think that the idea is good, and I agree with Commissioner Gonzalez that the residents will hold commissioners accountable. And to, you know, to say that commissioners are not doing this is very offensive. Thank you.
Hold on, Mayor, you are muted. Okay, you are muted.
I agree with the Commissioner Hamilton, Commissioner Gonzalez, and Commissioner Samaria, that I don't think this is necessary. Do you want to withdraw the resolution, or do you want to bring it up for a vote? Vice Mayor Kennedy.
It's not a resolution, so I'll just restate very quickly, because it clearly this is not going to go anywhere, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. It's not a resolution. I put in language in here saying these are not mandated by our charter. It's completely unenforceable. It's non-binding. It was really 5 people who are neighbors and now have to work together saying, yeah, these things are all really good. I promise to do that. I'll do that. And it's not to hold anybody up to anything, and not to call you out and say, Judy, a neighbor said you didn't call her back and you didn't engage. No, it's not about that. It's how we're going to conduct ourselves in the role of commissioner. So it is, I thought it was very clear, non-binding. It's really just a feel-good thing that starting off, it's like kind of our kumbaya moment here at the beginning, where we get to say, okay, whatever happened, happened. Here we are now. Let's go about this the right way. So that's what it was all about. I understand where you guys are coming from. It sounds like, you know, you don't want to be held accountable. It's not about being held accountable. So it's okay. There's nothing here. There's no votes that need to be made. It was really a discussion. It sounds like you guys aren't into it. So I think we should just move on to the next item, which is a little more feel good and hopefully easy for everyone to agree to.
13B, Vice Mayor Kennedy, do you want to present?
Okay, this is really easy. So we just had the Halloween decorating awards in the month of October. The timing of it was great. People loved it. I think it really made people ramp up, and more people decorated. And I know I talked to some people certainly that decorated in a bigger way than they would have, and they really enjoyed the community building aspect of this. They enjoyed decorating. They enjoyed going around to see the decorations and nominating people. I'm simply proposing that we do the same thing for holiday decoration awards. And I put together some suggestions here. We can discuss them, decide if you guys like it or not and how you want to work it. But I'll run through it very quickly. It's basically the same idea. And we're just going to formalize it. And call it holiday awards. It could be inclusive of all the December holidays. Hanukkah's in there, Christmas, Kwanzaa's in there, and even New Year's is in there as well. We do 3 categories like we did with Halloween. One is best light display, which is, you know, a big one. Another one is best decorations for kids. We have so many families in this village, and I have to say the Halloween decorations for kids, people really enjoyed that one. So best decorations for kids, and then the spirit of the season, not a religious context here, but I think this year more than ever, probably that spirit of community and peace and harmony, and let's all just chill and you know, take stock in all the good things that we have while all the bad things are swirling around us. And there are people who bring that to their decorations as well. Those are the 3 categories I would suggest. The action plan I put together, we don't have to run through the whole thing, but it would be the same as Halloween. I'm sure you all read this, but the one thing I would like to do is for us to put together a resident panel to have them be the judges. At Halloween, I know it became a burden on staff. Poor Roseanne, she was doing so much that week, and they were supposed to be judging stuff, and she got someone else to do it on staff, which was great. But I had a bunch of residents come to me and say, who are the judges? I'd love to be a judge. Having residents be the judges is another way to bring residents into the fun. So residents get to decorate and be up for awards. Residents get to go around and look at them. Residents get to do the nominations. And then we put together a panel of judges. Each of us email Roseanne by Friday of this week and say, here's the judge. This person doesn't decorate. And he or she said they would be one of the judges. We put 5 judges on there. And then Roseanne just, you know, after the deadline of nomination, she sends everything out and let the judges vote on this and get residents involved in that way as well. Everybody's in on the fun. Staff can nominate, residents can nominate, judges can nominate. People nominate by the category the same way we did before, and it's all just a big community building effort at a time that I think we're going to need it with all the things that are going on. And I think there'll be a lot of people not traveling over the holidays this year, more activity in the village. It's a feel-good thing.
Am I on? Yes. A couple of things. Number one, I'd like to know what the cost of the awards that were made up for Halloween were. And number two, I would like to say we've done holiday decorating this way. I know Rosemary Waste set up a thing several years in a row, and it's having residents involved, I think, is wonderful, and I would love to see Rosemary or whoever else wants to get involved in it again. Maybe each commissioner could find one person in the village to do it, or 2 people, and that way it would be spread out among people to be the judges. But I also, again, I want to know what was the cost of those awards, and do you know that, Roseanne?
For Halloween, they were free.
Exactly. For Halloween, it was free. There's no, the signs, Vice Mayor Kennedy provided. And we're just the,
okay.
Yeah. That was Sanctuary and Oasis hours. Yes. It's going to be used again because I'm going to request to have a display just put on top of the fall. It's going to be the winter and etc. But it's going to be the same time.
Before I can even go forward with this item, I need to know what the awards, you know, is going to cost us. We're going to do signs. I want to know. Okay, I definitely would like to know. I agree with. I would definitely like to know what the cost, because we were already told the cost of the first contest, and to find out that we spent $200 for two signs that had a date already on it. So that we don't have to fix that. I need to know what the cost is going to be.
And
I definitely would like to have. I do agree with Commissioner Kennedy. I mean, Vice Mayor Kennedy. I would like to have the residents participate. I don't want judges to be done by the administration because they got too much work to be doing themselves.
Okay, Roseanne, could you give us the cost of those signs, please?
Those 2 signs for the seasonal award, Sanctuary was $195.
Okay. Commissioner Gonzalez, would you like to say anything about this?
I didn't hear what Roseanne said.
$195.
$195.
$200 for both sides.
Yes.
And the signs are reusable. You're going to reuse them for the winter.
Yeah, there'll be a charge, a fee, a cost to put a display on top to change the season. That way you're going to do it. So, but it's going to be less than a new sign, for sure.
I think we have to pick up the signs now that were put out, correct? I mean, this is...
Well, they're still out. No.
Yes, they're still out because I saw some of them today.
Guys, we're talking about two different things here.
Or the other alternative would be to go with less expensive signs. And that way we could give them the signs and leave it for them if it's a less expensive sign. Less expensive.
Well, when we first approved the Oasis and Sanctuary Award signs, my proposal said something like a campaign sign, that kind of sign that would be a whole lot cheaper. That was the intent. Roseanne found those really nice signs that I thought were beautiful. It's $195 for 2 signs, and she's going to use them again. My goodness.
Right, but the Oasis sign is up. What were we talking about? Two different things, Matt.
That's what I'm saying. I'm recognizing that we're comparing this to Halloween. Halloween were homemade signs. Dan made them.
All right, right. This is, the other signs have to get picked up. Commissioner Gonzalez, do you have anything to say?
No, I think that if we're going to be reading these signs,
Oh, we are.
then I don't see a problem with spending with things like signs. You know. I don't see a problem.
Okay, does anybody else have anything to say? Does anybody disagree with this?
Need a motion?
As long as it's not going to be, as long as it's not going to be staff that's going to be doing the judging, because the staff has enough things to be doing.
Okay.
Let me make a motion here in the interest of moving this along.
Okay, go ahead, Vice Mayor Kennedy.
When we and Rosemary did this, we had residents participating doing it. So I agree with the residents participating. I just don't think it should be staff at all judging it.
Sorry, I'm mute you, sir.
Okay, let's wrap this up. I make a motion to accept the Halloween Decoration Award exactly as I presented it, which addresses all the problems. I completely trust Roseanne to go out and get some nice signs for a fair price. Anyone second that? Did I say Halloween? I'm sorry, holiday.
I would like to suggest to any residents who are interested in being on that committee to notify one of us commissioners. We'll call it into Village Hall. Roland, you wish to talk, Judy? It's already seconded. Okay. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, you guys all have a deadline of this Friday to get a name to Roseanne. Just FYI, it's on there.
Okay, and now Dan Samaria, Commissioner Samaria, you have a 13C.
Okay. Originally, I hope we can fix this echo. I originally had this as a resolution. I pulled the resolution apart. This was just supposed to be a discussion about the limits of authority for commissioners, not adopting rules and procedures for commissioner meetings and workshops. There was a miscommunication on my part with the clerk, and the intent was not to have a resolution. I thought we should have also a discussion into action with our attorney. One simple solution would be to create a policy to limit direct access to the village attorney. Therefore, all communications to the attorney should be presented to the village manager, and then, if warrant, presented to the village attorney for review. This should also include any personal pet projects from individual commissioners that have not first vented and approved by the entire commission. This is also a measure to start to have the meeting short. We need to have these meetings short, and also for commissioners to be respecting each other on this commission. I'd like to open it up for the rest. I think my item explains it for itself, so I don't need to repeat that. I'd like to have the rest of the commissioners to participate, okay, along with the attorney and the city manager. Thank you.
I need to unmute you, sir.
What you were saying is you're pretty much quoting out of our charter, right? There's not, you're not deviating from what our charter already says. Those are the rules that are already established for us and our behavior towards staff and how we are to treat our managers. And so that's already written. That's the rules, right?
Yes, but we haven't been following it.
Okay, so that's the part that I need to understand. So if those are the rules and they're already written down, what exactly is it that you want to do above and beyond that's what's already established as a rule?
I think commissioners, we need to hold everybody up here needs to hold, the commission needs to hold each other up here accountable. And it seems like in the past, especially in the last commission, we have not done that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying there's any penalties, but I think that we as commissioners need to hold each other responsible. Yes, it's in the charter. It hasn't been followed. Okay, and I just think that we need to do that. And maybe with the new city manager and attorney, that's possible to change.
So what does the charter provide us with those kinds of violations when those things are
possibly
not by us?
No, it does say that we can be removed from office. There would have to be
we would have to
call for a special election to, yeah, you can be removed from office. It does say in there about commissioners being removed. I'm not even going that far. That's not the purpose of this. It's just that we need to find a way. Sorry for this echo. So we need to find a way to better run these meetings and for us to get along. I was embarrassed on how the last commission ran. I was embarrassed.
The commission that was here before this one?
Yes. Yes.
Were you embarrassed about the commission that was here prior to that one as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was. If you're talking about commissioner.
Because if I remember correctly, we were in the same boat then, if not worse.
I agree with what Dan's saying, but it's already written down and in the charter, so I don't know what we can do beyond that, except that we agree to hold ourselves to that. There's really nothing else I can think of.
Okay, Vice Mayor Kennedy, do you have anything to say?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Hold on, I'm unmuting myself, Roseanne. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of such a strange meandering thing to this item. But I have to speak to it because some of it's directed squarely at me. Let's not kid ourselves. There's a whole section on there about one commissioner who monopolizes next door. Well, that's me, for the record. Anyone who doesn't know, I'm on next door a lot. And I share lots of information with people, and they thank me for it continuously. And it's embarrassing. I cringe every time someone says, Mac, if you didn't tell us stuff on next door, we wouldn't even know. And I say, we have a communications professional coming in for manager. I'm sure he's going to address that, and we'll be better in our communications with you. So some of that's aimed right at me, so I've got to say something. So Dan, you attended the new commissioner orientation that we had at 6 o'clock this evening. You're not a new commissioner, but you came and joined us, and that's fine. And you learned that some of this stuff you can't do. So you heard our attorney say regarding social media, any of you can put anything you want to on social media. Don't reply to them. You can't reply to someone when they post something on social media. So Dan, if you feel like I'm monopolizing next door, get on there and say something. I don't care. You're allowed to go on there and say something. I'm not going to reply to you. You and I cannot, I'm talking. You and I cannot communicate on next door. So I'm not monopolizing anything. I'm posting things. I'm saying, hey, we have a meeting tomorrow night. Here are the things on the agenda. Come join us. Where do you think all these people who have attended meetings have come from? I'm out there beating the drum to get people to get involved in stuff. It's good and it's working. You can't tell me I can't do it. You simply can't. So I'm talking, Dan. You can't say that. So that part of this thing just has no business being in there. It's just incorrect. You mentioned a couple of things in here that are kind of interesting as well. You talk about, in terms of people talking to the attorney directly, we're allowed to. The attorney told us that again tonight. You know, he told us how he would prefer that we do it. That would make the most sense for everyone's time. He gave us some pretty clear direction. He said, when you have Mario in place, he speaks very highly of Mario. You won't need to come to me so often because you'll have a manager to go to. This is also not a problem. You're trying to fix a problem that isn't a problem. I feel, Dan, and don't take this the wrong way, that you sort of feel like you've lost your way or your place in the group. Just come back to the group, Dan, and be part of it.
Commissioner Kennedy.
I am. I'm very much staying on top of
You're
it.
getting
and I'm
into
speaking.
personalities. You're getting into personalities. Don't get into that.
Jenny, may I speak? Jenny, may I speak?
Please don't get into personalities. Go ahead.
May I continue, Jenny?
Yes.
It's just ironic that earlier this evening I proposed something that was, why don't we all be good guys? And you guys couldn't, I'm just going to speak to Dan because this is your item. You couldn't see fit to that because you thought it was something, somehow us trying to wrangle, me trying to wrangle you. And then you put forth this thing that has, this quite frankly, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So there's nothing here. There's absolutely nothing here. Let's wrap up this conversation and move on because there is nothing to vote on. There is nothing to decide on.
Commissioner Gonzalez, go ahead.
Yeah, I think
resolution, Dan, when it's going to be tasked on the manager to keep everybody in their lane. And it's going to be his responsibility. It's not going to be our responsibility to make sure that us, the commissioners, don't overstep our bounds. And then it's his responsibility to report back if he's having an issue with any specific commissioner. So I think that's going to be he's going to be tasked with that responsibility.
I agree with you on that point. Here's the problem I'm having. I do was listening to the attorney saying that about the phone calls he would rather have commission calls. I think after December, we end the 6 month, not rate, I think it is December. So the attorneys are going to be charging us when commissioners call instead of sending emails. To me, I'm not going to challenge the attorney's integrity, but I have a problem with us just calling and not having a paper trail. That bothers me big time. I think that there's no reason why the attorney has to answer the emails, but I like the emails better than relying on phone calls.
Okay.
In the past, in the last 2 attorneys, the Department of Billing. I don't know what the billing is going to be after the 6 month period, and I congratulate the attorney for giving us that extent, giving us that clarity. But I'm concerned about the attorney bills being stacked.
Okay, our attorney is not the last 2 attorneys. I'd like to proceed on the next one.
Because, am I unmuted? I'm going to say something very quickly in response to what Dan said. I have to take this off. I can't hear. Dan, you're not quite sharing some important information accurately. And the residents here are watching this. Our attorney, right, these are the facts. These are the facts. Because I sat there in the meeting and negotiated this. I know. We are paying the attorney a flat fee for the first 6 months. Okay? At that point, they are not, we have not agreed to a fee schedule with them. At that point, all we agreed was we would look at what was going on and we would negotiate and see what's going on. So please, when you say we're going to start paying by the hour, no, we're not. We haven't gotten there yet. That's going to be Mario's job to go negotiate that for us. Hire the manager, let the manager do his job. But when you say when that 6 month probation, not a probation period, when the 6 months is up, he will be paying a certain amount. No, has not been determined. I just want people to know that store some people viewing incorrect information. Like it's simply not true. Mario will be in charge of that for us.
Okay, let's proceed then. We are now up to our village attorney. Excuse me?
What are we doing with that item?
We're not doing anything with that item.
Okay.
Okay, village attorney. And do you want to talk to us about what we proceed to the village manager?
Yeah, I've got about 3 or 4 hours worth of.
I'm a comedian as attorney too, right? We need someone, a comedian.
I'll be here all week. The only thing I want to bring up is I know that there's been some concern about the amendments to the construction ordinance. You'll be happy to know that the planning board met and they've made some suggestions to us and with regard to the changes that are being made, and we're looking through those and we're going to provide that information to you hopefully in December. Yeah, we'll get it ready for the December meeting.
Thank you. Okay, Mario, would you like to?
No, Jenny, we had some other things that we added to the agenda regarding the attorney. So first of all, Ed, I heard that Valerie did a great job at the P&Z meeting, managing all of the construction ordinance. So I don't see her on here anymore. So tell her thank you for doing that. I got great reviews about that. Oh, Valerie, thank you very much for doing that. So a couple of things that talk to us about our board alternates. For years, we've had alternates on boards that have served, and now you're informing us that we don't have provisions for alternates. We've had alternates serve, vote. So what's the deal with alternates? And if we want alternates, what do we have to do?
What we need to do, first of all, you have alternates. The problem is that you've not empowered them to do anything. You've not empowered them to sit in as a substitute for an absent member of the board. So what we need to do is to amend the code, if that's what you folks want to do, to enable them to participate in the event that someone on the board is not present at the meeting. But we haven't had that conversation yet, and so now we have it. If you want to direct us to bring something back to you, we're happy to do that.
That would be a good idea.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm looking at everybody kind of nodding, so I guess.
Okay. Does anybody, any other requests for items on the next meeting agenda?
I'm sorry. Wait a minute, wait. Mac, in response to your next question, Mac, the declaration of emergency has been extended through next Tuesday. We do that every single week. Valerie prepares it for me on Monday, and I review it and send it on to Roseanne, and the mayor and Roseanne sign off. They send it to me, and I sign off. We've been doing that like clockwork, and we'll continue to do so until you tell me there's no further emergency.
That's right.
I thought the governor does.
Yeah, I think we're waiting for DeSantis.
Well, no, that's not right. The fact of the matter is that we have the authority as a village to declare our own emergency, whether the governor decides to do it or not. So even, irrespective of what the governor does, if you folks believe, well, actually, if the mayor believes, because you've authorized the mayor to make this determination, if the mayor decides that there's an emergency, then he or she gets to declare that. And we get, under the statute, we have to renew it every 7 days. So frankly, I really don't care what the governor does going forward. If you folks in this village, want to maintain that emergency status, then we'll continue to do so.
Does that have to be with the majority of the commission?
No, it's actually on the mayor. According to your code, the mayor's the one who gets to make that determination. In a lot of other places, it's actually the city manager or the village manager. So,
Okay, is there any other items on that?
I think that's it for me, Mac. The other one I wrote down was on the CARES Act, and I don't have anything on that.
I'm going to apologize. My ear is making me through the meeting, and that is so I'm not hearing you. So I didn't hear the answer to about the board alternates. What do you need to do to fix that?
We have to amend the code. We have to amend the code.
And that's like ordinance 2 readings of all my bylaws.
He's going to present something at the next meeting.
Okay.
The attorney.
Okay, and then the other thing I had on the list for you was, the variance. We'll get rid of the variance hearing, and there's some application about neighbors being notified, it's not part of our code. That was a loophole you said.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Let me suggest to you folks, if there's an echo in here because all of your microphones are on at the same time, I think that we could dispense with that if y'all would mute yourselves while you're not talking, and all of us, I think, could hear a lot better. I think, Mac, what you were just asking me was about the discrepancy with respect to the variance. In the code, there is absolutely nothing that says that we're going to provide notice to neighbors when someone files a request for a variance. However, on the application form for a variance, it says that notice is going out to everybody within 500 feet of the applicant's address. So again, what we need to do is to amend the code, to sync up with what we have on that form. It's not a big deal. We're happy to do that. But it just needs to get done. And as we continue to see things like that, we will continue to try and bring that to your attention. But it's just, like I said, we're not changing anything. I know that the village has provided that notice. We did it for this variance, but we just need to make sure that it's a requirement in the code, or otherwise applicants are going to say, I'm not going to give you that money to do it because it's not required anywhere except on your form. So we will.
Exactly.
I'm taking it that we have a consensus to go ahead and address that issue as well. I can see Commissioner.
Do we need to vote on that?
No, this is one of those things, Commissioner, where I think, it's just a consensus, that this needs to be accomplished, and you're just giving direction to the attorney to take care of it. So we see you nodding your heads, and I think that's sufficient. We don't need to do anything official on that.
Okay, so you'll bring them both back to us.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, that was all I had, Fred. Thank you.
Please understand, Valerie just reminded me that both of those have to go to the planning board for their approval first, and their recommendation to you. So we will get those, and we'll have them to them for the next planning board meeting, and then subsequent to that, we'll put it on your agenda.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. Rosemary, do you want to give us a report, or if you have, on the CARES money? Yeah.
Well, the CARES Act, we submitted everything, all the expenditures that we have to do under the deadline, before the deadline, November 15. And some of the expenditure has to also be submitted on the FEMA portal website. And finance was working, and they submitted everything. It's not much. Like I said, we don't have much of expenses. But everything that we have, the 1% for the police and all the PPE, everything was submitted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mario. What?
I'm sorry, I can't understand.
I'm sorry?
Commissioner, I just wanted to give everybody an update.
On our meeting.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to give everybody an update. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, Commissioner Sally Hayman requested that she meet with the mayor and I regarding CITT funds. One of those items is the ordinance that oversees the PTP revenue states you need to spend 20% of the revenues on transit related projects. Now, because of the geographics of Biscayne Park, we don't really receive transit services within the village, except for what's on 6th Avenue. You don't have transit services going in and out of the neighborhood. So it becomes very restrictive on what we can and cannot do with those funds. As the ordinance reads right now per the county, if we're not using those funds, then CITT will claw back those funds and potentially risk the 80% as well. Now, I've spoken with the commissioner. I've spoken with Javier Bentacourt and the commissioner's legislative director. What they've asked, and I think is a great idea, which will not only benefit Biscayne Park but every city within the county, is we're going to ask, and I've provided information to Ed for a resolution where we're going to be urging the county to provide flexibility on the PTP revenues, limited only to those 20%, to allow for on-demand service to be able to move outside of municipal boundaries, so that our residents can go to essential services like doctor's appointments, grocery stores, pick up medicines, and things like that. Now, on-demand service can be a number of things. The most popular one in the county is a freebie type service. The problem with the current ordinance is you can only use it within your city limits or your village limits. And so, well, we don't have any commercial properties or anything within Biscayne Park, so we can't use it. So again, we're further restricted. And even though our intention is always to meet the requirements that the county would put on for these revenues, we simply can't. And so the CITT director is in favor of this. I believe that the Commissioner Sally Hayman, she would like to put that for first reading on December 1st so that it can go to committee in January and move through the county system. It's a little bit longer than what we will do here. With that, I also had a conversation today with the Association of City Managers, and I brought up the dilemma that we are facing here at Biscayne Park, and many are intrigued and are requested that once we move forward, that we share that information and the type of language, because that is something that they would want to potentially consider as well. So this could be something that we are the tip of a spear, and I think that really puts us in a great position, especially letting the county know how important it is that they assist us in a lot of the services, because as we mentioned throughout the meeting, the CITT funds can be used for a number of stuff, especially on the 80% between not only roadways, designs and repaving, but also even other areas that are critical to our village, such as storm drainage and other aspects that. So if we can't use the 20, well, okay, not a problem, let the county have it. That's one conversation, but then that can limit us on getting the 80% as well. And those are funds that are too vital for our village to be able to move forward with our infrastructure. So once we have a drafted resolution, and I've been working with Ed on this, we hope to have it shortly. We'll make sure that we will call each and every one of you, make sure what your schedule is like for the remainder part of the week and the very beginning of next week. And so that we will be able to schedule a special meeting to be able to take this item up. And then you can vote on the resolution. The county does need this before December 1st, so we'll be moving as quickly as we can. This is something that really came into play late yesterday and this morning after my discussion with Mr. Benacourt, which is why it hasn't been brought to you earlier. So I do apologize on that. I do know, Mac, and if you will allow me to entertain the conversation with regards to some of the storm drainage issues that we faced over the past week or so. I have been in regular contact with Chief Cabrera and discussing a little bit later or earlier today with Caesar and Roseanne, some of the issues that we faced and that especially Chief 120th one is we essentially share the roadway. The other side of the roadway is North Miami, and unfortunately, they did not, from our estimation, they did not properly maintain their storm drainage in anticipation of the storm. The various storm drainage infrastructure that we have in the village is also what I would consider passive. In other words, you have French drains and catch basins where all it is it's going to hold the water until it just goes into the soil and the sun kind of evaporates it. It's not actively pushing the water somewhere else. And so that adds additional strain on the streets and the neighborhoods. When staff was made aware, Chief, Roseanne, they were able to get various companies, and they were able to get someone in North Miami to have their contractor come out and clean out those basins. Unfortunately, it wasn't fast enough, but they did come out, and that started helping as well as the sun finally came out. Now, on our side, they did alert the various vendors that we already have a contract with for not only monitoring the storm, for pickup and vac trucks and things like that. So those things were in place prior to the storm. And so from the information I'm being told, we were trying to move forward. A lot of the issues became with control outside. Something that we need to start looking into in the long term of what this village will look like is capital projects wise. What are we going to do with not only septic tanks, but the potential sewers, storm drainage, road repairs? There's a lot of infrastructure that we need to be looking at, and that's something that I'll be looking over within the first several months to be able to give you a recommendation on how to properly move forward, not only from putting these projects together, but how do we even finance that? And that's something that we'll then have to go to the community, because these are not something that you can do, hey, it's a couple $100,000 and we're good. These are big tasks that the village is facing, and we're at a point where we're either going to start taking these things on ourselves, or the county's just going to walk in and tell us what to do, whether we like it or not. And so with that, there are steps that will be prepared, and I will be evaluating what the right steps for the village will be. So thank you for entertaining me on that.
Can I ask him a couple of questions, Jenny?
Yeah.
I want to ask about that. Okay, so I asked for us to have this conversation tonight. Look, I fully understand that the drains are a big thing that you're going to have to manage over the next couple of years, and I agree with everything you just said about that. My immediate concern is that when we have these rain events, that I want to make sure we're doing the best possible job we can for some specific residents who are impacted by it. So the fact that streets flood because our drains are backed up and we have a passive drainage system that has to be addressed, and it's going to cost $1 billion, I get it. That's a big nut that you're going to have to handle for us sometime. But in the meantime, we do have these rain events and people flood. And it's not a once in a lifetime kind of a storm. It's happened like 4 times in the past 6 months. That there are specific places in this village that are in really, really bad shape. And the chief knows where they are. We all know where they are if you're out and about at all. But my concern is how we're responding to the residents at those specific sites, knowing that these things are going to happen to them. Knowing that the street's going to flood in front of their house to the point that when cars come through, it pushes water into their house. Knowing that there's septic issues at certain places and the water may be unsafe, and that's not being addressed and handled properly. That's my concern. It's the immediate thing. It's the what we can do to help people. We have some people who were living in houses for days without air conditioning, without any plumbing, without running water, toilets that didn't flush, sewage coming up and everything in their house, sewage in the yard. I mean, we have things that we need to address. On top of that, we have places where we put cones out to close the roads. I'm not sure what supplies the chief and Caesar have to do all of this, but like cones and some small barricades are put up, but people are driving around them up through yards. They're destroying yards. There are some yards in the village that it's mind-boggling to me that someone would drive around cones and a little barricade and drive up through someone's yard and behind a tree, but they're doing it. Cars are plowing through the water. Big, huge trucks are just flying through there to get through standing water and pushing water into people's homes. So my immediate concern for those specific residents is how we're reacting when we know a storm's coming, in terms of getting streets closed in the most aggressive way so they're truly impassable. No one can get around them. People can't even get up in yards. I don't know how you get big, long barricades. I'm not proposing the solution here. I'm just saying that we have a big problem when these events happen and people's homes are unlivable, and then all of these things are being exacerbated by traffic going through the water. So I'm hoping we can come up with I'm hoping you, Mario, working with the chief, and Caesar, Public Works, can come up with some solutions, because it's really awful what was going on in the village, and these poor people, these residents. You're going to hear from them as soon as you start. You're going to hear from Gabe and Alana and the Medeas. You're going to hear from these folks because their homes were unlivable, and what was happening was really, really, really bad. So I'm hoping that we can address that. We're entering dry season now, so knock wood, maybe we're done, right? And exactly, you're on a plastic table. That doesn't work. But rainy season's right around the corner. Right, here it comes. We know it's coming again. So I'm hoping you can put together a plan that these problem spots are addressed, and these people's lives are not so seriously impacted by how other people are reacting to the storm.
Absolutely, we can definitely.
While you fix all the drains and replace
at the same time. Absolutely.
At the same time.
You have. I'll be out there with the shovel. Absolutely, and we'll definitely put something together and update the commission as to what that is, and if there's any funds or anything that needs to be handled that wasn't previously budgeted, we will make that recommendation to the commission for consideration.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. By the way, the League of Cities is going to have a meeting with Mayor Carver shortly, and all the commissioners are going to be invited. And I will let you know as soon as I find out what day it's going to be. And does anybody else have anything to say, or shall we entertain a motion?
There was something else that we asked the manager to speak to, and I didn't really expect or mean you to do this. I was going to be asking Roseanne some stuff. Solid waste. So our extended contract ends December 31st. They have presented to us the option to extend it for a number of months while we figure out next steps in our solid waste issue, but they're also proposing a rather steep price increase, $3 a house. They've already Roseanne, they've already increased us in the past 6 months. What, $6 a house?
It was
$4 a house?
$2 each
and
time,
then 2 more.
So in the total, $4.
$4, and now they're proposing $3 per house more on top of that. That's in the proposal. So, and this contract expires the end of December. So they also, in their response, am I allowed to speak to this? This is public, right? What they sent to us, right? Yeah. Okay. So they're proposing an extension or the option to negotiate with them directly on a new contract. So they kind of have like the gun against our head here, and we've got to do something because you're starting on December 1st, December 31st. This contract that we're in is done, and we either need to extend it and eat that price increase, which is significant, guys, $3 more a house, and we've already budgeted. I think what we've already budgeted is less than that. You might want to check the numbers on that. So because we passed our assessment already, and I don't think that's enough to cover it. If it is, it's just going to be enough. So what do you want to do here? I'm wondering if we should go to them and say, can we get until the end of January, so at least you have time to catch your breath, Mario, and start a conversation with them, or however, and come back to us with a proposal?
Excuse me, but I think that Mario, am I muted? No.
No, you're good.
Excuse me, I think that Mario will know what to do, whether it's negotiation, and he'll report back to us after he starts. He has a few weeks to do that. Correct, Mario?
My concern, Mayor, is is bringing to you and the commission for consideration what's going to happen. And December 1st really doesn't give too much time to have a final resolution on it. What I will do is I will work with Roseanne the remainder of the week so that we can reach out to them and see if they would be at a no increase to extend it through the end of January, so that we can kind of reset a little bit and see exactly, so that hopefully at the very latest come January, there's some type of recommendation from staff as to what's the best possible way to move forward. And that might be doing an extension while we do an RFP. That might be a piggyback. That might be they promise to do a lot better, and I have confidence in them based on the plan that they're showing me and giving that. I don't want anything off of the table, and I don't want them to feel that or lose any type of leverage in that kind of negotiation. So I would humbly request that the commission allow me to reach out to them with Roseanne and be able to do an extension through the end of January, so that we can have a proper recommendation for the commission. 2 weeks.
That's exactly what I'm asking for. Thank you.
very much.
2 weeks just isn't going to be
Very
enough.
much, Mario. That's what we want.
Mario, I'm sorry, just one thing that you just mentioned, that in case you didn't catch it at previous meetings you were attending, now former Commissioner Will Tudor for months has been saying he was working first with our last interim manager and now on his own on an in-house, bringing it back in-house. It's something that there are a number of residents who have a very strong desire to bring it back in-house. There are commissioners who discussed it openly, the idea of that. Will Tudor kind of led the charge on that. At least he wanted to look into it. He said that he was working on a plan. You might want to contact him. He promised it would be here for us to look at tonight. I asked several times if it was going to be on the agenda or if Will had turned something in to forward to us. I never received anything. But he said last meeting it was 95% done and he would have it here for us tonight. I don't see it.
I will reach out to him.
But in terms of what you said about having all options on the table, that was an option that has been discussed very openly, and there might be a plan ready for you to take a look at. Just letting you know.
Madam Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner Mario.
if I'm correct, first off, I wanted to go to see if we can get an extension. But if I'm correct, I heard them say that they would agree to an extension, but they're not going to agree to an extension with no money. So I remember hearing that at a commission meeting, that they would agree to an extension.
Mario will do his best, I'm sure, with us.
With no increase, yes, you know that.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything? Well, can we entertain a motion to adjourn?
There's the section commissioner comment here real quick. I want to say a couple of things. First of all, the home guard support guys.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, you are mute.
You are muting me?
Okay.
Okay, guys. So the Home and Garden Awards were announced this week. I have to keep my head in here. So I would ask that you all help promote those. They were very popular last time, and I would like commission support in promoting the awards. And I want to just take a moment here at the end to extend my personal thanks to Will Tudor for the time that he put into the village, but specifically for Commissioner Roxanna Ross. She was such an enormous asset to this community for a decade. For a decade, Roxanna Ross gave of her time and talent and skills for this village in the most unselfish, dedicated, professional way. I had the pleasure of serving with her since she filled in starting in March or April when she filled in for the past couple of months. We were very fortunate that Rox was willing to step up and do that after she had officially retired from the job one time. I kind of feel like she's our share. She's the share of Biscayne Park. She retires, she comes back for one more tour. But I think this time she's really done. But it was a pleasure to serve with her. I personally learned an enormous amount by serving alongside Roxanna Ross. She did a fabulous job for this village, and this village owes her a lot for the time and energy she put into it. So I just want to publicly say that Roxanna Ross, we value you, we love you. Your commitment and dedication is beyond admirable, and it's been my honor to serve alongside you for the past couple of months. Thank you for your leadership and your guidance.
I'd like to second it. I think Commissioner Vice Mayor Kennedy said it perfectly. There's nothing else for me to add, but I second it. Thank you.
And I would third that. I didn't get to sit with her, but I see what she said.
I'm sorry, Judy, I'm unmuting. There you go.
There. Okay, I said I'll third that. I didn't get to serve with her, but I know what she does. I've been in touch with her and I think she's wonderful and she's been a major asset to us. Absolutely.
Okay, are we going to entertain a motion to adjourn?
Second that.
Second. All in favor? Say aye. All opposed? Ed, you did say aye, right?
Yep.
The echoing is awful. I wonder if the other